snowball's chance of reaching the folks who need to hear it, and even less of a chance of them being receptive to the message therein. But just in case it does reach the Fox News set, Donald Trump is absolutely bullshitting you about Washington, D.C. He is manufacturing a crisis in order to justify his pathetic, weak-ass attempt at playing authoritarian dictator, trying to seize control over the nation's capital. For multiple reasons, because this is sort of the standard playbook of authoritarians, but also because he's desperate to distract you from the Epstein files, trying to get all his MAGA base to worry about urban youths, because Elon Musk's little Shitler youth big balls got beaten up by a couple of teenagers. Obviously, I'm way out in Portland, Oregon. You don't have to take my word for it. Let's maybe listen to some folks who live in D.C.
Yeah, giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem HaRachakodash, and double honors to our apostles and elders here at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. Right, so it's only going to be a matter of time before you heard a testimony of people. If you didn't know what's going on in D.C. now is that apparently there's a lot of protests and crime. I mean, there are protests, but Trump is trying to. He's saying that there's a lot of crime. So as we speak, I just looked up, but he looked like he's getting National Guard. He deployed National Guard, like literally as we speak. That's like one of the recent news to try to get a control over DC. You see videos of these militia. I don't know the exact groups, but they're going to house telling people what they're there for, trying to keep the crime down, etc. Really, they're the threat. But nevertheless, you hear Trump really talking about how he's gonna. Well, first off, he said he want to target the homeless. He want to get the homeless out, which that's exactly what typically happens first, because the homeless are, you could say they don't have any protection. They're easy prey, and this devil preys on easy prey. So he's targeting those who are easy prey. So he's saying they want to make it illegal to be homeless, and anybody who's homeless, they're going to get rid of you, right? So this is him trying to, like even she said, trying to establish some type of authoritarian dictatorship, because he's trying to be emperor again. Really, the wicked elite that's behind him, he's trying to be emperor again. But these are people who saying that everything that Trump is saying isn't actually true or isn't accurate. And people by now understand that when they lie like that, it's all for justification for establishing martial law, because that's what he wants anyway. And that's literally what the prophecy says. And that's what he wants. And it's the Lord that's doing this. But scripture says that the Lord is going to uplift Esau's skirt, and that he may not be able to hide himself. The strength of the devil, the strength of Esau Edom is deception. It's the work in darkness. It's the powers in the darkness. So when the Lord starts to reveal and uplift his skirt more and more, then his power becomes weaker. So whatever bill he passes, whatever steps he's take, most people, if you go to the comment section, most people are actually calling out the plan before it even happens. Just like Iran. Iran said that Israel is going to stage another 9/11 and try to blame us. They called that out way in advance, because I'm pretty sure that's exactly what they're going to do, because everybody knows and sees their playbook. Speaking of 9/11, people are calling out their playbook. Nobody believes, I would say majority of the people don't believe that story anymore, right? So whenever this man does something, even most of the people will see like, no, this isn't actually true. And some of them are able to connect the dots and say, no, this is just justification for X, Y, and Z. And what we're here to tell you is that according to the prophecy, that martial law is biblical. And it's just a matter of seeing how it's going to be established. And once we understand how this man operates, all right, the scripture tell you that he operates with deception of the tongue and left-hand work. Left-hand work goes into creating a crisis, offering the solution, and bringing about the order. And typically that order, that solution requires the people to give up their freedom. So the idea of, you might say, well, what's the whole point of that? Because those troops that's in that corner, the National Guard deployed, that's not just going to be for one state. Okay, you can see he's starting with the District of Columbia. Because that's another thing. The District of Columbia is not even is in its own sector. That's another thing that's on the left hand that they ain't gonna teach you in schools. They got their own set of laws and rules, just like London, but in the Vatican. But the whole point is that those guards are gonna be there permanently. They're gonna say they're just there to keep the crime down. We're just trying to make sure everybody's safe. You know, give it a few weeks. We're going to keep the crime down. But then they're going to say, you know what? Permanent change. This is how it's going to be it. And if they don't, they're going to first lie and say it's the crime. And if they don't get the results they want, then they're going to create the chaos. This is what they do. This is what they do. Okay? Because this man wants to come down with the sword, and he really wants to put our people back in slavery. Okay? And he will use any means necessary to achieve that. The scriptures already prophesied. It's just now his power has been weakened through the prophets of calling this man out. The Lord shortening the days, and he's uplifting the skirt, and he's showing the left hand.
Hey, just for the record, I've lived in the dead center of Washington, D.C. for 10 years. I don't even have a car. I walk everywhere I need to go in D.C. Been walking the streets for 10 years in this city and never had a single crime happen to me.
Hi, I live in D.C. and I just want the world to know that the president is lying. It's a lie. As a D.C. resident without a vehicle, I want the world to know that D.C. is no more unsafe than it has been. I want the world to know that this feels like fascism here.
All seniors on Medicare who haven't claimed their spending card loaded with $3,300 have
The world to know that this feels like fascism here.
Good afternoon to everyone but our stupid fucking president. I'm currently walking in D.C. getting my coffee that I get at lunch every day, and why am I seeing FBI? What the fuck is wrong with him? I live in D.C. now for 4 years, and I've never had a single issue. Yeah, there's crime, I'm not denying that. Every major city has crime, and D.C.'s at a 30-year low, so why don't we just release the files and all untwist our fucking fannies?
I'm just making this video to document that I live in the District of Columbia, so if you don't live in the District of Columbia, you may not realize that everything that guy says is a lie. There are not roving gangs of violent people in the District of Columbia coming down my street. Went for a run this morning. Sun is out. Lots of people are out of town because it's summer. The background noise you may hear is my neighbor fixing their gutters. It's a normal, regular city. It's a city. We have city problems here. But it is not in need of the National Guard. Thank you very much.
Everyone, I'm here on the crime-ridden streets of downtown D.C. I mean, really, this is terrible. There's a Lime bike there that someone left. I mean, people are walking around and driving. People are eating lunch. I mean, you couldn't ask for a worse situation, honestly. I mean, it's just evident that we need the National Guard and the FBI to be patrolling the streets. I mean, look at what's happening. I hear sirens now in the background. And look at this crime. There's a new coffee shop that is open now.
Right, so the goal is, as you can see, he's starting with the District of Columbia. He's starting in his own backyard. And best believe, whatever happens there, he's going to expand it all over. This is just them making the move. You got to understand, there doesn't have to be actual crime anymore. There don't have to be these roving gangs anymore. He's going to say those things, and he's going to, and if he need be, he will do what it takes to get what it is that they want. This is how this man operates. We talked about 9/11. What do you think that was about? Literally a demolition project to get justification to go to Iraq, invade Iraq. So when there isn't an issue, he's going to make the issue so that there can be a solution. And that solution, what he wants, is a military police state across all 50 states. And as we speak, they are establishing a centralized data system to make way for the image of the beast. And that's what everything's all about, from your healthcare to the money system, And he's done so much I can't even recall it this year. But everything he's doing is all about centralized. What did he just do that's going to be regarding centralized? I forgot. But even with the food stamps, not being able to buy junk food or whatever they're going to monitor, that's just the beginning of monitoring. They're getting you used to your food being monitored, being told what to do, and it's always under the guise of, like I said, some type of humanitarian aid, trying to help. Oh, the YouTube thing, that's what it is. In the UK, at least from what the guy said, all social media, anybody with social media platform, it requires you to have an ID, to show an ID, because they're trying to make sure that kids aren't using it for age verification. That's what they said. Whereas YouTube, it went into effect this week, August 13th, 2025. They are also rolling out the beginning of monitoring YouTube channels. And if they're going to use AI to do it, and if AI senses or believes, quote unquote, that your channel is a teenager or you're a kid, then they're going to restrict your access to a lot of things. And the only way you can prove that is by showing your ID. And people already know this is just so you can establish more control. And the people already know that eventually you're going to require an ID for any YouTube handle, meaning the famine of the word is coming. So we know this, but what's the guise? Oh, we're just trying to protect the children. The control of the government assistance, we care about your health, while trying to push wearables. No, he's establishing and trying to get people to condition with the accepted fact that everything will be monitored and controlled by the international bankers, the wicked elite. Everybody needs to be okay with the new change, the new norm. Troops on the block, National Guard and the FBI on the block. You need to be okay with that. This is him establishing the image of the beast, which goes back to the Roman Empire system, which is complete control. And today you can call it the New World Order. It's all prophetic, and we'll show you. But I also wanted to bring this out. A brother has shared this, brother Karatazar, Vegas. It says, this is on August 7th, 2025, but it says Trump signs the 401k executive order allowing cryptocurrencies private equity. So what does this mean? This is what it says here. It says the order directs the Securities and Exchange Commission to revise, you see that? Revise regulations in order to facilitate access to alternative assets for participant-directed defined contribution retirement savings, including 401ks. So what is this saying? The order directs Security and Exchange Commission to revise regulations, requirements, so to speak, for people to have access to, like, what, their 401ks. And what did he say? Cryptocurrency, private equity, etc. So you know what this is? This is him coming for that nest egg. They are also going to go after your 401k, the people who are retired. This is him trying to put in the motion to change the rules to where if anybody wants to access their retirement or keep accessing their retirement, they can require that the change be that it has to be digital, up so they can say you got to have that microchip. This is him coming. I'm going to jump around in this chapter, but Revelation 13 and 16, and he calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. All, that means young, old, or even old. Well, I'm retired, so good thing I'm retired. I don't have to worry about them touching them. He gave the order for them to change the rules. And what do you think those rules are going to consist of? He throw in their cryptocurrencies. What is it going to be? We are changing your requirements for you to keep getting your 401k. Don't worry, your money's still there, but it now requires you to have proof that you have a QR code, or you got to have a chip. This is what this is all about. Everything he's doing is pushing towards a centralized system where all of these big companies are all on the same page. And yes, he's going after the old, young and yo. He's going after the nest egg. So don't think your retirement is safe either. When he says he called us all, he literally means all. All right. So if we go to verse 12, start at 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. That beast is America, coming up from what? The Roman Empire system, coming back into power via the Renaissance. The 2 horns like a lamb goes back to the patricians and plebeians, which today, that's in the Roman Empire. Today they are your Republicans and Democrats. The reason it's 2 horns like a lamb, because it gives the people the illusion that they're in control, that they have power. But it's 2 horns of the same beast, just like it's 2 wings of the same bird. So you got left wingers, right wingers, even Republicans, Democrats. They make you, deceive you, and playing this game to have you thinking that you control the outcome. But in fact is they're all controlled. That is why there hasn't been a single president or a single mayor, a single anybody, doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat, that have actually shifted the course from them going towards this new world order system. There's not one, because they are all controlled. They are all on the same boat. They are all playing for the same team. That's why it gives you the appearance like a lamb. That's the deception. But it says what? And he spake as a dragon. So when he speaks fierce words. So the martial law troops, the FBI, door-to-door housing, the curfews, which is probably going to come, these things are done to push the goal that he wants, which is to establish the image. So he doesn't care if there's literally peace and let's just say the crime was the lowest it's ever been in the city. He's going to manufacture a crisis. He's going to say that there's a crisis so that he can justify in sending those troops. Verse 12, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wounds heal. Who's that? The Roman Empire. Right? So going back to what? The Roman Empire system, where all the power, it was Augustus. He shifted all the power from the people to himself. And everything was in the hand of the select few. That's what's happening right now. Okay. Verse 13, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Those are those atomic bombs that he was known for doing, America. And deceiveth them that dwell in the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Saying to them that dwell in the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had a wound by a sword and did live. And that image of the beast is control. You could say New World Order on all the spectrums. Centralized banking, ID, everything monitored. They got cameras on the streets in Florida, in Miami. Everybody watched. The WEF saying what? Everybody controlled. The select few decide what medicines you need. The select few decide what food is good for you. Who's allowed to plant? Who's allowed to own a farm? Who's allowed to lead the state? Who's allowed to enter into a state? All these things, the real ID, all these things, they say, oh, this is just for protection. Well, first of all, passports was at one point was only used for international travel. Now it's basically a requirement for local travel. So the real ID is just that, for more control, because they can change the requirements to receive an ID or change the requirements to receive a passport. So now, and if those are required just for you to travel, guess what you're going to have to do if you want to travel? You're going to have to comply. But all of this change is happening. This is them creating the image and bringing it to life. And he's using by way of deception. The deception is always for the greater good. Verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Right? So that control is going to be, that image is going to be the system, right? The New World Order, also known as the Roman Empire system. The New World Order, that's just the modern way. If you say that, that's what people understand. But if when you do your research, you see that this is exactly how the Roman Empire operated, because this is that fourth beast that the deadly wound was healed. So he's just bringing it back into power, right? And they're going to say that this is the new way. This is the new way. The new way is that moving forward, this is going to be a permanent change where everybody's watched and everybody's monitored. You know, no more freedom. This is for the greater good. And this is how they go. They get closer and closer to eventually just coming down with the sword. Because once people stop believing the lies, they're just going to resort to violence. That's what he does. He's like, you either believe my lies or I just pull out my sword. I'm going to get my way one way or the other. But this is how he operates. So everybody knows that the microchip, I ain't gonna say everybody, but most people know that the microchip is the end goal, is the end game. That's why to this day, and I mean to this day, they have never said anything about it from the White House, ever. And that so-called, and the truth, they will call it a conspiracy, has been out since the 90s. They're talking about on TV since the 90s. Why hasn't they ever took the time to address it, to quote unquote debunk it? Because they don't want to give it any publicity. They don't want to give it any attention. If they go on record acknowledging it, even if they say it's not true or whatever, if they go on record acknowledging it, that's going to spread news for people to look into, and they're going to do research, and now they know what to look for. So their best bet is just to not say anything and just sneak upon it, the people, and just resort to, you know, the status quo, which is just, this is good for the people, good for, you know, health. Imagine that you go into a hospital with this. Oh, imagine your kid goes. They're just gonna go with the same playbook. They just been called out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahshua via the prophets, our apostles and elders, especially in like a Great Millstone and the brothers in Great Millstone, and telling you, okay, they're just gonna go with that because they don't have another choice. All right, Yahweh Shai has weakened their strength. He's weakened their power by revealing the understanding. He already called it out over 2,000 years ago, but he's revealing the understanding to the prophets. We've been teaching it, calling it out, and now it's being made known. So we can call their plays before they even do it. Isaiah 44:24, thus said the Lord Yahweh thy Redeemer, and he that formeth thee by the womb. I am the Lord that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone, that spreadeth abroad the earth by myself, that frustrateth the tokens of liars, and maketh diviners mad, that turneth wise men backward, and make their knowledge foolish. So the Lord will frustrate this man by calling his hand, showing his hand. That sleight of hand don't work no more on the majority, I have to say that. Just like he says in Isaiah 47, which is a rebuke to Babylon the Great, which is America. Verse 10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, and thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Right? It says, therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt know from whence it ariseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. And that's happening with the other nations. All the other nations are rounding up against this man. You do realize them Amalekites, right? The 1948ers, they really did believe that by now they would had already achieved their goal, which is to quote unquote take back Gaza or whatever it is. But it's not working in their favor. And even their economists show that as the longer that war goes on, the weaker their economy gets. Many people are leaving that country, Israel, because of the war. Their economy is going to shit. At the same time, the world no longer believes that you're the victim. The world no longer believes that you're defending yourself. No, you're attacking. Because if it was really about revenge or avenge, you would have stopped months ago. So the Lord is frustrating this man, and the lies no longer hold up. This is why they don't spend as much lies as they did when they first did it. Oh, Hamas. You barely hear that now. They just want to attack. The whole hostages, all that. You mean tell me they still got hostages? Come on, man. People see through it now. People see that you're just a damn devil, and that this was never about October 7th. Talk about some October 7th. No, this is, you just wanted a reason to attack, and he gave them one. Okay, they created October 7th so that they could attack. That's what this is all about. And if they cease fire, so to speak, then they have to make another excuse to attack again. So they're not. You see what I'm saying? That's why the Lord said that this whole world is in danger, because the man that's in power is power hungry. He seeks to be the most high. He has a goal, he has an agenda, and he will do whatever it takes to achieve that agenda. And that agenda ultimately is complete control over the people, with the final stamp being verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that mark is the RFID microchip. That's why in the Greek, it's the Greek word there, charagma, which means a stamp, an imprinted mark. So it's something physical. It's going to be like an incision, right? And it says that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So you won't be able to buy or sell unless you have that. You won't be able to travel unless you have that. That's going to be what? That microchip, which is going to be complete control over all people, which is what they want. But back in Isaiah 47, verse 12, he says, stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou mayest be able to profit, if so be thou mayest be able to prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. So America, Babylon the Great, has wearied herself in deception, in dark magic and evil practices, left hand practices. And the majority of that is deception, creating a chaos to justify a law, to justify an attack. They've had so much success up until now, but they only have one playbook, so they're going to keep playing that playbook over and over and over again. And the more and more that they try, the more and more people just call out their BS, which means less powerful the deception is, which means they're just going to resort to more and more violence. The violence is always his trump card. He's going to get his way, and he'll use it by means of force. That's why the Lord said that unless you are of the elect, you're about to witness this man's wrath on the earth, all because he's losing grip of power of the people and fear of the people. You're going to know what a real sore loser, power hungry, narcissist, evil serpent, right? Thief, okay? A damn thief. You're going to see exactly what that is and what this man's about to do. Okay, he's not letting off the brakes. He will continue to move forward. Look, man, it was never about immigration. It was never about cleaning up the country. It was never about doing the right thing. It was never about any of that. Okay, it's about control. That's what it's always about. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. All right, woe means destruction to the people. It says, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth he hath but a short time. He's not going to pump the brakes. And the devil is Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Yes, this man wants to put his own people into slavery. He doesn't want you to have peace. He doesn't want you to prosper. They want to put you in slavery. Okay, Trump is literally just a puppet for the is not reallys. He's just a puppet. Okay, really a president is a sucker's job. They're just there to take the fall while the wicked elite do everything from behind the scenes. He never had your interest for the country. He would, if the day he decided to steer things right on quote unquote track and do the quote unquote right thing, he wouldn't wake up the next day. There would have been a quote unquote accident, and now the next puppet in line will take over, and he's gonna get the script and he's gonna do the same thing. That's the truth of the matter. Shalom.